In progress.
Parak Chaf Zayin, chapter 27 of Divrei haymim Uvnei Israel. Lemisparam Roshei Havot v'Sarei Alafim v'Amayot v'Shotreihem Hamishartim et HaMelech L'chol Davar Hamachlakot Haba v'Hayotzeit Chodesh b'Chodesh L'chol Chodshei Hashana Hamachlaloket Ha'achat Esrim v'Arba Elef. So the number of Israelite chiefs of clans, officers of thousands, of hundreds, their clerks who served the king in all manners of division, who worked in monthly shifts during all the months of the year. Each division was 24,000. So we're continuing in this chapter with the entire incredible system that was created by King David here to allow for the temple to be built. That is what we are continuing with here in this chapter. And we're going to talk about the different groups. Al hamachloket harishona, al hamachaloket harishona, chodesh harishon, Yoshvaam ben Zavdiel v'achmachlukato, esrim v'arba aleph. The first division, Yoshavam, his division had 24,000. Min b'nei Peretz harosh l'chosarei atzvot l'chodesh harishon. Of the sons of Peretz, he the chief of all the officers in the army served for the first month. Al machloket hachodesh hasheni. So in the right, that's like a machloket is a disagreement, a chelak, because you only have a part. So this is the part or that group. The second one, hasheni dodai ha'achochi u'machalukato u'mik lo tanagid ve'amachalukato esrim va'arba elef. The second division, Dodai with his 24,000 Saratzavash Lishila Chodashri Benayo Ben Yoda Kohen Rosh Val Machlukto Esrim Varba Elef. The third officer was Benayahu Ben Yehoyada. We have mentioned, of course, in other places. He's sort of Shlomo's executioner early on. He's a great war hero, and the rabbis in the Gemara talk about him as also being a great Torah scholar. They had that layer to his resume. And so, of course, he has 24,000. Hu benayo gibor shlishim va'al hashlishim umachlukoto amizadav beno. Right? And so it tells us this is the aforementioned benayo, one of the warriors of the 30, over the 30, right? He was one of the great warriors. So it was included, one of the great warriors in charge of this division of 30, like we would say Navy SEALs today, or whatever it might be. Haravi lechodesh ravi asael achi yoav uzvayjo v'no acharav v'amachlukoto esrim v'arba Aleph. And here we get into another famous person, Asael, one of the brothers of Yoav. Hachamishi lechodesh chamishi asar shamhut hayizrach v'amachlato esrim v'arba Aleph. And the fifth month is Samchut for the Izrachite, also 24,000. Hashishi lechodesh hashishi Ira ben Ikesh hatkoi v'al machlukato esrim v'arba Aleph. The sixth was Ira from Tekoa's division at 24,000. Hashvi lachodesh hashvi cheletz haplonim in bnei Ephraim v'amachlato esrim v'arba Aleph. The seventh for the seventh month was Cheletz the Poloni, and his division had 24,000. Hashmini, we're in verse 11, pasuk Yudal. Chodesh Hashmini sevchi achushati lezarchi v'almachlukto esrim v'arba elaf. The eighth, in the eighth month, also right Sibchi, who had 24,000. Hashi lechodesh Hashi Aviezer ha'an toti from Anatot livnei the Ben Yemini v'almachlukto esrim v'arba Aleph. The ninth. So this is Aviezer, and he's from the place of Anatot. Later on, we'll meet a very important Kohen from Anatot, Yirmiyahu, the prophet who talks about the doom and destruction of this very temple that they're preparing for now. The 10th is Mahari with his 24,000. Ashtei asar la'ashtei asar chodesh b'nayo hapir atoni mibnei Ephraim ve'al esrim v'arba Aleph. The 11th for the 11th month, Benayahu, the Piratat of Ephraim, he had 24,000. Hashneim asar l'shneim asar chodesh cheldi hanetofati la'atniel v'amuchlakto esrim v'arba Aleph. The 12th for the 12th month, what we today call the month of Adar, right? Because Nisan is the first month in the count. They don't call it Nisan; they call it Chodesh Aviv in the Torah, and it's mostly called the first month. For the 12th month is Cheldi of Otniel. Yal Shivtei Yisrael Reuvenina Gid Eliezer ben Zichri Shimoni Shivtayo ben Ma'acha. Over the tribe of Israel, we have Reuven, the chief officer Eliezer. We're just going to read the names: Levi, Chashavia ben Kmuel, Aaron, Tzadok, Liuda, Eliyahu, Me'achei David, Lisachar, Omri ben Michael. Right. So each chapter we have somebody being mentioned. For Yehuda, it's Eli who for Levi was in the previous pasuk Chashavia, for Aaron it was Tzadok, one of the Kohanes. Continuing verse 19, Lizvulun Yishamayahu ben Ovadia, who Lenaftali Remiot ben Azriel, Livnei Ephraim, Hoshea ben Azazyahu, Lechatzi Shevet Menashe, Yoel ben Pidayahu, Lechatzi Menashe, Gilada, Yido ben Zechariah. So right there we have Menashe is divided to the eastern and the western bank of the Jordan rivers, and so they have two. They have these two leaders as opposed to one because they're in two different places. Levin Yamin, Yasiel ben Avner, Lidan, Azrael ben Yerocham, Ele Sarei Shiftei Yisrael. These were the officers of the tribes of Israel. V'noasad David misparam liben esrim shana v'lamata ki amar Adonai la'arbot Yisrael chokvei hashamayim. And David did not take a census of those under 20 years of age because the Lord had promised to make Israel as numerous as the stars of heaven. He did not have to take a census because we know that Israel is going to go great and great, and he doesn't have to find out. Now, this, of course, is contrasted with when he did take the census earlier on in this book. And he did take the census in the book of Shmuel, two versions of the same story, which caused destruction. It caused a plague. It caused horror. But here, it's pointing out that David has faith in God. It's, again, like we've said many times in this book, it changes David. He's not just this warrior king. He's much more of a religious leader, much more of sort of like a priest, and he's building the temple. And so here he's showing his faith to God. I believe I don't need to take more of a census because we're going to be kichochvei hashamayim, like God promised all the way back to Avraham. Continue in verse 24. Yoav ben Tzruah hechel limnot v'lo chila v'hi bezot ketzef al Yisrael v'lo ala mispar Dvrei haymim lemelech David. And so we're told here, we just said that Yoav did begin to count them. Now it was David, and we've read the story where Yoav said, "Don't do this; it's a bad idea." But Yoav did not finish. Wrath struck Israel on account of this, and the census was not entered the account of the Chronicles of King David. So here it almost makes it look like Yoav is more to blame than King David. V'alotrot hamelech azamavet ben Adiel v'alotrot basadeh be'arim so there are other people who are part of the support and part of the system over the royal treasuries is Amavet, over the treasuries in the country is Yehonatan, Valosei Mlechet Hasadel, Vodat Adama, Ezri ben Kluv, Ezri the son of Kaluv is in charge of the field laborers of agricultural work, V'al Kramim, Shimi Haramati, the vineyards is Shimi, Ve'al Shebar Kramim Leotrot Hayayin Zavdi Hashif Me, and the produce in the vineyards for wine cellars was Zavdi V'alazetiv Vashkamim Asher B'Shvela Balchanan Hagderi. Over the olive trees and the sycamore is Balchanan V'alotrot Hashemen Yoash, and over the olive stores is Yoash V'alabakar Roim Basharon Shirtei Hasharoni V'alabakar Ba'amakim Shafat ben Adli. Over the cattle pasturing at Sharon was Sharti, and over the cattle in the valleys is Shafat V'algmalim Ovil Ishmaeli V'alatonot Yechedyo Hameronati. Over the camels is Ovil. Over the female donkeys is Yechedyahu V'alatzon Yaziz Hahagri. Over the flock is Yaziz Kolela Sarei Rechush Asher Elimelech David. These are all the stewards of the property of King David. Yonatan Dod David Yoetz Ishmevin V'Soferhu V'Yichiel ben Chakmoni Im Bnei Amelech. We're told about two other people. Yonatan, David's uncle, was a counselor, a master, and a scribe, and Yechiel was with the king's son as perhaps a teacher, right? He's Yechiel ben Chachmoni, makes it sound like he was a chacham, right? And so this is just showing the impressive nature of the kingdom of David, the network that he sets up, the wealth that he has. He has to have a whole system over everything because of how his kingdom has advanced in a short period and how successful it has been. Continue with the name well known to us, V'achitofel Yoetz Lamelech V'Hushai Arki Rea HaMelech, two names that come up very importantly during the rebellion of Avshalom. Achitofel, who is a counselor who switched to the side of Avshalom, and when Avshalom doesn't listen to him, he goes home and hangs himself. He's identified in other places as being, I believe, the father or grandfather of Bathsheba. I don't remember, and that may have been part of the reason why he joined the Avshalom rebellion. He might have been very, very upset at David. And Hushai, who is a friend of David, David rewards him and shows his friendship specifically during the rebellion of Avshalom. V'yachrei Achitofel, Yehoyada ben Benayahu ve'Evyadar v'sar hatzava lemelech Yoav. And after Achitofel, we're told of other people. Yoyadayu ben Benayahu. We've had Benayahu ben Yehoyada. Here we have, is it his son? Is it his father? Perhaps a completely different person. And Evyatar, who's the Kohen. And also, Evyatar. There's another coin, Evyatar, but here is Evyatar, who is one of the commanders of, Evyatar, I believe is the coin, I got it right, and the commander of the king's army is, of course, his cousin Yoav, who is very loyal to the king. So here again, another chapter about just the makeup of the kingdom, all of the different people who come in, the different jobs that they have, which is necessary when you're not just a king of a small little clan, but when you're setting up a large building project, large building phase, and commanding and controlling a much larger population and kingdom, as was done by King David, which is going to help out his son, Shlomo HaMelech.